The following theater of the mind is true. Only the details have been changed to protect the guilty. It's time for the show. Would all copyrighted characters kindly vacate the vocal processing center? So we can. If we could kill the music. Wonderful, thank you. Once there was a boy. He wanted very much to be a real boy, but he was far more like Peter Parker than Pinocchio. A strange analogy, but it's better than the rough draft. You see, although he possessed flesh and blood, his mind was trapped forever in imagination. He could not escape it, nor could he interact directly with the real world. But rather, the flesh and blood he possessed did it for him. A strange thing to try and explain. You might assume the boy's condition would be the result of trauma or some kind of abuse. This couldn't be further from the truth, however. The boy enjoyed a lovely childhood filled with friends and wonderful experiences. The world was truly a wonderful place, and as any boy should feel, he never wanted to grow up. Although we'll discuss it further, this story really isn't about how the boy became broken or the nature of his affliction. No, we're here to discuss his brief time in reality. Unfortunately, as near as anyone will ever know, the boy was born this way. If you're considering a split-level head of your own, there are a few things to consider. Firstly, whenever splitting personalities, it's absolutely crucial to leave every piece large enough that none of them drool. Pardon me. Secondly, any unstable personality should be relegated to a locked and secured basement, keeping the rest of the mind free for balanced personalities and an integrated system. And please, do not trust any personalities you suspect of drooling with keys to the basement. What are you doing here, and why are you interrupting me? Please do not attempt to contact the id except in cases of extreme emergency. Disturbing the id may result in extreme instability, leaking personalities, or accidental release of personalities kept safely in the basement. Excuse me. Please do inform the id immediately if you experience any of the following in your split-level head. A sensation of shrinking. This applies to both the mind as a whole and to individual personalities. Any voices not known to be belonging to any known personalities or those locked in the basement. Excuse me. Any previously unidentified personalities wandering about the mind. One personality attempting to directly influence the thoughts and behaviors of another personality. Excuse you very much, The hostile takeover of one part of the mind by a personality it does not belong to. Do you mind? I was in the middle of a story. This information is vital and must be broadcast. Oh, give it a rest. You are unkind. I don't care about kindness. You interrupted me. Now get out.
Not even the pieces remember everything.
Okay, Now, where was I? All right. The boy and his affliction.
Excuse me, Mr. Narrator, sir?
What do you want?
Well, I was just wondering if you'd seen Mr. Orator, sir.
He just left. You may be able to find him crying in the amygdala.
Well, thank you. All right, then.
Now might be a good time to remind you that not every voice you may hear has authorization to use a vocal processing center. Okay, quickly now before there's more interruptions. As the boy grew, he became increasingly sure his flesh was a moron. And whenever he bothered to look at reality, he found it making genuinely dreadful decisions and choosing the very worst way to accomplish a task. However, it also seemed to have exactly the right words and skills at exactly the right times, so it seemed to others as though he was very smart indeed. As such, the boy became increasingly resentful of words like attitude, problem, or potential. For example, when he was young, the flesh could learn to count until it was 9 in attitude problem, but it also possessed a clever wit and had memorized half of the dictionary in rote. Incredible potential.
Mr. Narrator, I didn't know you could talk that fast.
I thought I sent you to the amygdala.
Already been back?
It should really be a longer walk from here to there.
Hello, Mr. Narrator. It has been far too long since you and I last spoke.
It's been less than 3 minutes.
Are you sure? It feels like it's been at least 3 days.
Yes, I'm sure. Faith, what do you want and why did you bring him back?
Well, for starters, I ain't exactly sure still if y'all ain't got me and Phil's names mixed up, but we're waiting on Phil before we can start.
Wonderful.
Oh, hello, there you all are. I didn't see anyone else around, which is positively strange for this time of day. But one doesn't miss what one doesn't know one needs. Oh, philosophy. How inscrutable as always. Oh, I'm doing wonderful, thank you for asking. That wasn't a question. Anyway, existential dread is up 15% and there's little to no foresight being exercised.
What?
What Phil's trying to say is, we're pretty sure Mr. I might have taken off.
I'm sorry.
Yes, he left nothing but a cardboard cutout of himself and a tape recorder. Listen, here it is.
One or more of you better start fending for yourselves and doing something around here, because I ain't helping any of you anymore. I'm gonna go find a land to conquer with lizards. And lots of strong beer.
This is very bad. Do you know how long Mr. I has been gone?
Not really. The back of the cardboard cutout seems to be dated like a couple of years ago, but he used to pull this trick all the time to go visit the cerebellum when he was arguing with Phil.
Seriously? You haven't noticed he's been gone for possibly up to 2 years?
Yeah, that's about right.
Faith, Phil, if Mr. I is gone, does that mean it's just you two and Hope in charge of the superego?
Well, not exactly.
Well, you see, it would be, except Hope kind of ran off to the hippocampus a couple of years ago and we ain't heard from her, so it's really just Phil and I.
I will inform the id immediately.
No, nobody's going to speak to the id. Okay, we can only deal with one problem at a time. I'm going to tell a different story, as this one's likely been tampered with by Mr. I during his departure. In the meantime, we'll sort this out. Okay, here's an old one. It's even unedited.
The boy isn't applied enough to his studies. As a result, he's not half as knowledgeable as his father was at his age, though I must admit he's no less intelligent.
Those were the words of Faulkner, a scholar of Errol and the tutor of Prince Inrat, as he spoke to Rickard, the prince's weapons instructor. The latter looked like a lizard, about the same height as most humans, and Faulkner looked more like a 5-foot-tall praying mantis human hybrid.
Hey, Mr. Narrator.
What?
Are you entirely sure that story weren't messed with by Mr. I?
Why do you ask?
It's just...
Does seem awful familiar.
Yes, an inattentive boy and lizards. Faith, if intellect tampered with the story before he left, we're entirely screwed.
Why say it?
The only thing I can find in here older than this particular story is you.
Oh, this is bad.
This concludes episode 1 of A Crowd of Me. Performed, written, recorded, and edited by me. As always, the muses are Parker, Heather, and Allison. Get your act together, Allison. And thank you to whoever bothered listening. Stay tuned to find out what happened to Mr. I.